Welcome to On the Corner of Main Street, presented by Plaza Hotel and Casino in downtown Las Vegas. Here is Plaza CEO Jonathan Jossel, Gary Vickery, and I'm your host, Lisa Melmed. Hello, welcome to On the Corner of Main Street. It has been 16 months of recording this podcast together. Hello, Gary. Hello, Jonathan. How are you guys today?
I'm doing very well. Jonathan, how are you?
Good morning. Good morning, guys. I switch off now if you were hoping to hear from a guest, because there's no guest today. It's just us talking about year in review, year to come, what's happening. So excited to have you guys here and just do this like it was in the early days with just the three of us.
Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm. Just the three of us. We were in the office, and then we were remote when things shut down, and we were Zooming together.
Yeah. But before we go there, I just came from Bagel Mania, the new Bagel Mania on the Strip that opened up on Convention Center Drive. And next to it is the new Convention Center. I don't know if you guys have been in there yet.
No.
Not yet.
It's impressive. It's big. And when you go there and you see the new Bagel Mania, congratulations to Steve and Judy Siegel on their new place. It was excellent food, and I think it's going to become a real, not just for tourists, but locals as well, a great place for breakfast, lunch, dinner. And you just get the sense that this town's about to explode with this new convention center, with the tunnels coming. We were at the ice hockey game, Lisa and I, and you were supposed to be there, Gary, but you weren't.
Yeah, it's okay.
And they lost anyway. The Knights lost. But
Go Knights, go.
I think there was 17,000 people in
There were a lot of humans in one space.
The energy was crazy.
The energy was, I think I shed a tear because it felt so good to be around people. The music and the bass, I haven't heard a bass in forever. It felt good to be out and about with fellow Las Vegas Golden Knights supporters.
Yeah, it was great. The energy, and you just get that sense that everyone's shaking hands again, hugging, hopefully fully vaccinated, and just getting to the point where almost like this never happened the last 12 months.
Yeah, it does feel like that.
But it definitely did.
And we get to look forward to 75,000 people in Allegiant Stadium in a few months.
We
right?
do.
So
yeah, Monday night, Baltimore Ravens. Yeah. Against the Oakland Raiders.
Las Vegas Raiders.
Oh.
Shoot. Okay. All right. Thank you, Rich. Yes, the Las Vegas Raiders.
Where are they playing here? Or?
Yeah, here. It's the opening game at the stadium.
On Monday?
It's a Monday night
Are you going?
I will be there.
Nice.
I will be there. It's not this. So yes, it's gonna be big over there. I mean, but before then, we have Conor McGregor fighting July 10th.
Right.
We'll be there.
At the T-Mobile Arena.
You got Garth Brooks performing at Allegiant. You got some big stuff happening. And just last weekend, we had Deadmau5 downtown. And 10,000 kids.
Gary and I actually went on a lip-smacking foodie tour of downtown Vegas on East Fremont, and there were some people going to Deadmau5 after the tour. But so when we were leaving, you saw all the ravers and everyone like going to a concert. It's great. There's no parking anywhere downtown because everyone was going to the show. It was awesome.
There's a certain level of excitement that I feel is coming back that hasn't been here since probably February of 2020.
It's probably even more than that because people have got that excitement that they can go out again. Like I heard from a few people that were there. Just the energy was crazy.
Did you see videos of it?
Yeah, it was a rave.
It was
10,000 people, and credit to Derek Stevens for putting it on, but credit to Pasquale Teller from Insomniac for putting it all together as well, and maybe one day he'll be joining us on the podcast.
And you had to be vaccinated to go, right?
Or prove a negative test.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure exactly how that will work. But
interesting.
Let us also remember that as advanced as we are here in Nevada, June 1st, all restrictions go away. There are still a lot of places in the country, even Southern California, where there are still some significant restrictions.
Right. And more than that, Canada, Europe, you can't travel here. I mean, there's a lot there's still obviously a lot of people, a good point, Rich, still suffering with this and struggling with it, I should say. Frankly, I was in Hawaii, as we mentioned last time, but it was strict there. I mean, they're still doing the temperature checks and contact tracing, which never worked from day one. But yeah, I do want to say thank you, Lisa, Gary, Rich, for not forcing me to do this, but encouraging me to do this podcast, because it's proven to be a very valuable exercise for us, engaging with guests, just yesterday I met somebody, Steve Crawford, who was, I don't know if that, as a customer, if he would have been here, but for the podcast, he heard one of the episodes and whatever. And I hear that almost every day now. And that's your guys' vision and idea in doing this, that it made sense to engage with our customers and share this content. And it's been fun for me, and I've enjoyed the guests. I've enjoyed meeting with people. You guys have a favorite moment or piece of history you learned from the last 12 months of doing this?
Well, one of my big takeaways, I think, we shut down, it was episode 6. I think it was the one we recorded right when the pandemic started in March of 2020. So I was still surprised that we were able to consistently keep growing the podcast over the last year, considering that, Vegas wasn't open for a big time, and then restrictions were on there, and, people were dealing with a lot of other things at that time. But I think people still wanted to get a little bit of a fix of what was still happening in Vegas when they couldn't come here. And
well, maybe the podcast will die once everybody can come here again, and they don't need their Vegas fix remotely, right?
Yeah, but every episode keeps growing. As
Yeah,
restrictions
absolutely,
are easing, we get more listeners to the podcast every week.
That's true. But maybe the pandemic was good for us because it gave people nothing. They had nothing else to do but listen to us talk crap.
Well, thank you to everyone who's been listening.
Shedding a tear.
I think it feels like when you start a college class versus when you take the finals for, like when you start a class on a subject and you're like, I have no idea what is going on. But then when you finish taking your final and look back, you're like, wow, I really understand this subject, which I think is the whole body of work of this podcast. When we first started, is like, I don't think I really understood all the intricacies of Las Vegas, but now looking back at everything and hearing from all the different perspectives, it makes this whole puzzle piece of Las Vegas come together as a full puzzle.
Yeah, and actually what you're saying is very true. So when people listen to podcasts, they typically listen to the most recent episode. And then if they like it, they'll go back and listen to the earlier stuff. Right. So now people are listening to the most current stuff versus what we did necessarily 16 months ago. But it's not just one episode at a time anymore. It's about that body of work and what are you talking about, and can the content last forever? Some of our guests have been more historical based, some about current events, and it's a good mix of guests, I guess, is what you would say.
And not to mention the access that people have to you, Jonathan, as CEO. I don't think people have that relationship or that feeling of a relationship with other hotel operators or casino managers in other locations.
Yeah,
and not at all.
Huh?
No, I get it.
I think Gary doesn't like it because people just write to me on Twitter, and then all of a sudden he has to deal with everybody that's just talking to me.
Well,
people recognize Gary at the front desk. They recognize his voice.
Yeah, sometimes I get my voice recognized, but I can't tell you how many people have come to the front desk and said, "Well, I know Jonathan." Yeah. I'm like, "Oh, well, how do you know Jonathan?" Well, from the podcast. I'm like, "All right, well, that's good. You're accessible, way too accessible."
I love it. So and also I was having dinner last night at Elia, the Greek restaurant. John Curtis was there, and we were talking about the podcast and the fact that he was a guest on it. He said he loves listening because of the variety of guests and the different, the nature of all the different people. So I think we got something, and definitely as long as people continue to enjoy it, we'll continue to do it.
Go team, go. Yeah. Okay, so recently on May 13th, the CDC announced that fully vaccinated individuals do not need to wear a mask. How has that changed the business?
Like everything in the last 14 months, it's just unbelievable. You get no notice, no preparation, no heads up. I mean, everyone thought we were going to be wearing masks till September.
Yeah.
Every casino operator I talked to was like, yeah, we're never getting out of masks. We'll be wearing them till September, at least, or the end of the year maybe. And then all of a sudden, the government comes out with, if you're vaccinated, you can get rid of your mask. And that started the next day. So all of us, we're scrambling, security scrambling. Nobody knows what to enforce and not enforce anymore. You got people saying, no, I don't have to wear a mask anymore. I'm vaccinated. And it went from 0 to 100 real quick. I think on the day that it was a Thursday, I want to say, when we finally got wind, like, oh, okay, this is changing. And then by Friday, no one was wearing masks anymore.
Yeah. On Thursday night, I put a sign out saying you don't need to wear a mask if you're vaccinated at both the entrances.
And of course, it's on the honor system because you're not asking people if they're vaccinated. So I see maybe based on that, we're running at about 98% vaccination rates in the
unbelievable. Everybody got their vaccinations overnight.
But it's just, I think it's really, it's great, obviously, because I think people are happier and more comfortable without a mask on. That goes without saying. But I think the challenge was just like a lot of what we've been through is this lack of notice, lack of preparation, and all of a sudden the rules are changing and now masks are coming off and people are very happy. But I will tell you, it's translated into, I think, people having a better time and people spending more money and people coming back to Vegas because of that. So I think it's been great for the business. It was a little more difficult for employees and our team to enforce at first, and then obviously knowing what to do with team members, because again, if you're not vaccinated, you got to wear your mask in public spaces or anywhere.
Right.
So we've been going through the process of that. We did a lot to try to encourage vaccinations. We have had vaccinations on sites. We've done cash bonuses. We've made it more accessible and easy for people to go, and that's been successful. But obviously, and this isn't a secret, I think some people just don't want to get vaccinated or cannot get vaccinated, and therefore it's just trying to figure out what the different rules are as they go through it.
Do you think that in the future people will have to show their vaccine cards?
I don't. I mean, I could be wrong. I don't know about international travel, how they're going to figure that out as a rule. I think just like the masks, everyone's like trying to wonder what's going to happen, and suddenly they'll just disappear one day.
Let me just ask all three of you: will you carry a mask with you at all times?
Well, it's a good question. I haven't been carrying a mask with me when I'm around here. I know what the rules are, but like I went to a mall last Saturday, and the stores did require you to wear a mask. So that was confusing because in the mall you don't have to wear the mask, but then individual stores you do still have to wear it. And so it's going to be an unwinding process, just like it was a process to implement all of these rules. It's going to be a process to remove all of them. But I don't think you're going to need the vaccine cards, and I don't even know that that's enforceable. Maybe for air travel it is. Certain countries might have their own rules as well, I would imagine.
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
But we did also go to the 100%, which is tied to the whole vaccine thing as well, because gaming, and I think we talked about this in one episode with our blogger friend, Scott Robin, and he had some thoughts on gaming trying to encourage vaccinations, and we worked with them on that, and Wynn and Cosmopolitan took the strongest line in terms of saying, if you're not going to get vaccinated, you have to provide a negative test. No one else did that.
Every week? Right?
Every week, yeah, at your own expense. I think Cosmo was twice a week, actually, every 4 days.
Wow.
So they got to 100% first because they had the highest vaccination rates. I think everyone else, but we've done good. We've done well on our end of encouraging it, and so we were a little bit behind, maybe 2 weeks behind, but we did get our seal of approval based on our efforts for 100%, and then everyone's getting it anyway on June the 1st. But it was a nice relief to know that our efforts were recognized by gaming. They sent a nice note about it, and we got approved, and that means all our bar tops can turn on. We didn't have a ton of plexiglass like some other places, but the plexi we did have.
I remember that morning at you're like, we're approved at the coffee bar. Like, take down the.
No, I know that our vaccination team member vaccination levels weren't at where the Wynn and the Cosmo were when we got the 100%. Do you think any of the because I know gaming came down to see what we were doing when we were doing a lot of the Super Bingo events during, the restrictions. Do you think any of that played into us getting 100% restrictions?
No, I think it was purely on the vaccination efforts.
Really?
Yeah, I do. And we were at a good percentage.
Yeah.
A good enough percentage, and I think the Super Bingo thing was different. The issue with the Super Bingo was, in a ballroom or in a convention space, you could only have a maximum of X number of people at any. It changed based on each month or so. But
25%, 50%.
Yeah, or whatever the cap was. But for gaming, it was never based on a number. It was a percentage. It was never based on a total head count. So if your square footage was X and you could hold 1,800 people there, then 50% was still 900 people. Even if that was, did I say 1,800? 1,800, so 900 people. Even if that was way more than the allotted amount in a gaming floor space, you could have that many people. So it was a little confusing on the head counts. But Super Bingo was important for us to survive and to get through the dark days and the more difficult times, for sure.
Well, and it kind of goes back to when you reopened the property in 2011. Super Bingo was the first thing that happened. That was the first event that we had, right? So kind of doing.
We're the only ones that do it in downtown, and we've been able to build a good brand around it. We have the best bingo manager. Please visit episode, was it 2 or 3 with Weldon?
I think it was 3.
Weldon.
Well done, Weldon.
The best bingo manager in town. And he has a great team now that really has figured out the game, and our clientele loves it, and This year we're doing it almost every month, except 2. So I think it's a.
Before it was every other month, right?
Well, it started just once a quarter,
Okay.
so twice a year. Then it went to once a quarter. Then it's been growing, and now we've
Yeah.
proven we can do it almost once a month, which is fantastic.
Well, so speaking of bingo, last year on July 4th, that was probably the craziest night ever.
Oh yeah, yeah. July 4th, 2020 will be one for the books. So it was just the beginning of reopening.
Mhm.
Everyone was figuring out like COVID testing.
Mhm.
You know, there wasn't this whole movement for COVID testing. We had figured out a company that could do testing for us, and I still get chills thinking about it. We were July 4th not packed, but busy. Obviously busier than we were expecting, given there's a pandemic going on.
Right.
And the steakhouse was busy, and we had Super Bingo coming, and this company that had done the testing had come back to us and said all of our employees were negative. So I was like, great, clean slate. But there was a couple that they said, well, the test was still pending or whatever. It was early days in the testing game
Right.
still, and no one was doing the rapid testing or anything like that. It took like 4 days to get results, and then they said we had 3 people that had the virus, but they had asymptomatic. And they're convinced to this day they never had the virus. But the testing wasn't exactly what it was. So we had to make a call on a Saturday night, and we had a fireworks show that night scheduled.
Yep.
We had to cancel Super Bingo, even though people had traveled here, because of the positive test that we couldn't verify whether it was accurate or not. And we had to close Oscars because one of the employees was there. And it was just insane. In the middle of the night. It was
On the same night, in the middle of 4th of July.
yeah. And so we closed everything down. We canceled bingo, and I'm sitting here with the team thinking, like, what do we do now? And I look out of the window, thousands of people in Main Street
Yeah.
and Fremont Street watching our fireworks show. It was a very surreal evening.
Well, then it was the contact tracing to those 3 people that turned
Right,
into
right.
25 people. I remember you coming up to me and said,
You got to
yeah,
go.
you got to go. And I'm like, okay, yeah, at the end of the night, I'll wrap up, and they'll be like, no, now. Like, leave property, somebody will contact you.
We were just learning what the hell
I know, it was
going on.
wild.
It was
Wow.
It wasn't easy.
What was the hardest part about running the hotel during the shutdown and the pandemic?
I think it was just all the changes. It was the changes every single week, month, learning. None of us were experts in this. None of us had experience in this. Just the changes of regulation, which kept coming down, whether it was the occupancy limits, whether it was the mask mandates, whether it was what was allowed, what wasn't allowed. I mean, we didn't even know if we could do the fireworks on New Year's Eve.
Mm-hmm.
We were just sort of flying in the dark, literally. And then Fremont Street got shut down that night. There was so many things that just kept changing, and that made it really difficult. And then on top of that, and I think I said this in a different episode, but was the difficulty of trying to figure out actually how to run the business. You forgot that you were still running a business. You were just trying to survive COVID rules and regulations, as opposed to,
Having fun and like
having
providing a
fun,
service.
guest service. Like,
Right.
We all
You're
forgot.
worried about
we all-
hand sanitizer and temperature checks. Like, that's the focal point of your business at that point.
Yeah, we all forgot guest service, and it was all about ID checks, temperature checks. Where's your mask? It was difficult, and then we had this weird, what I've never seen before, because we're in Vegas. We're lucky; we have a pretty regular calendar. We know what's a good time of year. We know what the less busy times of year are. This was just different, because all of a sudden you opened up in June and you were busier than you expected. Then you had July, and it was like up and down, and then all of a sudden we were way busier than we expected. And then the pandemic got worse in October, and suddenly November, December, and January were the worst months we've ever had. So it's just these ups and downs, and not really knowing how to forecast business. Frankly, no one knows how to forecast business now either. I mean, even still, it's summer's usually a little slower just because of lack of conventions and the heat. But I think it's going to be the busiest summer we've probably ever had. And so,
Absolutely, people are ready to
Now, how often
travel.
did you stay in contact with a lot of the other operators in downtown, because you guys were all going through it kind of together, trying to figure out different things?
Actually, thanks for mentioning that, Gary. What was, if there was some good things that came out of the pandemic, was the way as a community and business operators, people came together and shared information and worked together. I developed some much better relationships with people on Fremont, some of the casinos on Fremont Street that I didn't have prior. And it was really because of this. And we could work together and share info and share our woes. But it was nice to see as a downtown community, especially, people help. But even on the Strip, there were some bigger operators that spent a lot more, or had a lot more resources for research and put together those. Remember when we had to open last June, we had to put together like a playbook on like what we were going to do, and I was like, what the hell's this? And we had to put that together, and people helped with that and shared information, and that was really useful. But there were some things that people had no answers for, like July 4th when I called somebody and say, what do I do now? And there's like, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. Just shoot the fireworks and get the night over with.
But at that point, I mean, you're answering to, you have the Game and Control Board, you get the CDC, you get
and keep in mind, it's all a lot of different political stuff going on. People are all arguing over that somehow the virus became political, and certain elements of it were more political, and so there was that, and all the different organizations. It wasn't, and I'd say up until maybe February, it continued to be extremely challenging with all of that. But definitely looking in the rearview mirror now.
It's looking good. Well, looking bad in the rear view, but looking good ahead.
It is, and since February, we've had just consecutive growth over, week over week, month over month. It's just gotten better and better and better. It feels like it's building, and I'm excited to see once people from Canada and more long distance travel comes back, and Europe comes back, and I listen to these conference calls that everyone's talking about pent up demand. Conference calls about the casinos, and everyone's talking about pent up demand and stimulus money and driving factors, and obviously those are all factors. But and the vaccine giving people confidence. But then I think for us, there's something which is an even bigger factor, which is this idea that we now have Circa here. We now have their garage to the north. Main Street's being cleaned up entirely. There's no construction. There's no noise.
Right.
All of a sudden, you have a nice corner where and not to mention Greyhound left in February. The 800 apartments to the west are, one of them's about to open. One of the towers is open and doing showings. I think that the uptick we're seeing is maybe different to what some of the others are seeing, which is that whole pent-up demand and stimulus money. I think this is actually downtown's become a destination. I read an article from Oliver Lovatt, actually, one of our guests on the podcast, and it was talking about downtown being the value proposition, and people not left the Strip, but people from the Strip are now coming downtown in greater numbers because of the value proposition and the experience, and I think that's 100% true. So I think some of the increases we're seeing now, which for us have been significant, are maybe more sustainable than just pent-up demand and vaccine excitement. I hope it is, and I'm counting on it, and I believe that is definitely a significant factor.
And not just the pent-up demand too, but I feel like there's there's been some photo shoots that have been going on here. Much more people are down here kind of engaging in
YouTube stars, influencers.
CSI just did a huge shoot downtown. They're coming back, and the show. Have you guys seen Hacks on HBO? It's already out. Have you seen it? Yeah.
No, I haven't seen it.
They filmed here, and it's all about this comedian who lives in Las Vegas, and she has this like young 25-year-old writer come and help her. But it's pretty cool to see like how someone lives in Vegas, and the rich and famous in Las Vegas.
Yeah, I would say I'll try to watch that, Lisa. That sounds fascinating. I would say that the YouTube, social media, film shoots, I think it's a huge part of what's happening down here. When you see what happens in Oscars, when we have some of these people eating here, or Gary, what you were just saying about Pumpsy, one of the YouTube stars that filmed a room night here, and you get people
asking for his
room. They asked for what room was he specifically in. I made
that number or that style of room.
That room number.
That's
he
weird.
wants to be in the exact.
That's weird. Well, that's weird. Tell them it's a style of room, the Lux Suites.
That's exactly what happened.
But the idea that we have these people filming in Oscars, and we get every night now people saying they ate the food show. Or Brian Christopher, give a shout out to Brian, a great partner, BC Slots, and what he's done for us in the casino. I think all of this social media is just a huge factor in what's happening for us down here, and it's translating. It absolutely is translating, and no doubt that the film shoots you guys organize have a big impact on that too.
It's exciting. We always have requests for people to film in the casino, and like YouTubers film in the casino or in Oscars or in the hotel. It's great.
I think others will jump on board with that. I mean, we were one of the first, but I think others will start becoming more filming friendly as time goes by. It's just inevitable.
Yeah.
Lisa, is there a certain type of qualification or social reach that people need to have before they reach out to a marketing department in order to do a film shoot like that, or?
It depends what they're asking for. Okay. If you want to film in the casino, anyone can do that. We just need to know in advance. Just email us. But if it's like a exchange or for a complimentary room or dinner at Oscars so you can review it, then it requires a little bit more. But I am always open to meeting new people and YouTubers and Instagrammers, whoever, TikTokers. So it's a case-by-case basis.
Okay.
And while we're here, because we're good, we care about downtown, and I think downtown being successful only helps all of us. We've always said that. Let's give a shout out to our neighbors who opened a new casino in a pandemic.
Yes.
I went there yesterday to watch a soccer game. It was wonderful in the sports book.
Circa.
Yep. Their sports book was great. Watched my team lose, unfortunately, but the experience was great, and I give them great credit for not just opening in a pandemic, but reactivating the West End of Fremont Street.
It adds a lot to Fremont Street.
Especially on the West End, though, where we are, because more people coming down this end, more people crossing Main Street, more people parking over here. And with what we plan to do at Greyhound and with the new apartments, I just think that Main Street is going to be the main street.
And they do a great job up there programming with their pool, with Stadium Swim.
Yes, we hear the bass in our office.
Yeah.
All day, which is nice. You like bass.
I love bass.
Yeah.
And then we have a pool party this weekend that's sold out for Memorial Day. It's just nice to have events happening.
Yes, Memorial Day should be, I think it's our busiest hotel weekend. Gary should know this answer, but I think it's our busiest hotel weekend since before the pandemic, which is good to see. And, it's funny, we did these new rooms, these luxe rooms. I still call them new because we did them in August of 2019. We had a few months with them, and then we got shut down.
Right.
So they still feel like they're new rooms, and we're working on a plan to do more rooms in that style because they seem to be working. People like them and give us more of the North Tower as brand new rooms would be nice.
And this may not be a big splashy thing for the hotel, but, we just recently added 350 fridges. We just ordered 350 fridges, put them into all of our North Tower rooms.
That's big and splashy.
It is for me. It is for me. And
we get a lot of requests for fridges, and if the rooms have fridges, so it makes a difference for the guest experience.
Yeah, and one of the things that we try to listen to, some of the criticisms that people have on the property and try to address them. Fridges was a big one, right? So they got Oscars. They want to have somewhere to put their food afterwards.
Well,
right?
it's what we talk about, though, in that as we turn 50, and we just got our award last week from the
Nevada Preservation Foundation.
Yes, thank you to them for our lovely first plaque ever.
Yeah.
Not for us, for them.
Yes, their first one that they gave away.
Yes. The question a lot of the conversation that came up at that press gathering was this idea of, well, why didn't you knock down the plaza and rebuild it? And we always felt like we could continue to make improvements. And what you just said was another step towards improving the plaza, right? It's listening to our customers, and 350 refrigerators doesn't sound like a great deal, but it's a significant step for us to address those concerns. And those 6 new elevators in the South Tower, that's significant. Brand new elevators, and we'll have all new elevators by the end of next year, which is a big deal. Again, continuing to improve the place.
Right. Yeah.
As we turn 50.
So for our 50th anniversary coming up, what's going on?
Well, I hate to say this, but the 50th anniversary has been sort of a casualty of the pandemic because we haven't, up until 2 weeks ago, we didn't know that masks were going away. We didn't know that social distancing was going away to the extent that it has, although there's still some of it. And so we were reluctant to plan anything big and spend a lot of money if we couldn't have a big event. And then the biggest issue is our ownership group, Paul Zabradovich, is in London, and he can't get here. And obviously he needs to be part of our 50th. So we've taken a slightly different approach to the big event, which is we'll do it when we can.
Yes. But we'll be celebrating all year long.
Right. And that's not to take away from this year. We are going to do stuff, as you said. But the bigger events, we need our ownership group here. We need to make sure our friends and family can travel here for it. And I didn't want to do something spectacular and then not have everyone that we wanted to be here for it. And to honor the plaza in the right way, it has to be spectacular, and it will be when it eventually happens. That said, obviously July 2nd is our actual anniversary, and we're doing fireworks that whole weekend. You can talk, Lisa, about all the nice merchandise we have, and we should definitely be doing more giveaways for all of that.
We have cool jackets and stickers and golf balls, Plaza pins by Battleborn Pins, shot glasses, keychains, T-shirts, everything. It's all coming. It's all here already, what you can get at Plaza Rewards already.
And we'll have the Silver Strike machines.
Yep.
which was another thing that guests were they wanted more Silver Strike machines in downtown, so we went out and bought 2 of them. We have 2 of them on the casino floor, so they'll have 50th anniversary coins.
Yeah, they have the 50th anniversary, and now we're adding new colored 50th anniversary coins to come. It's pretty cool. I've never seen a colored Silver Strike.
And so we have that, and then we have the other casino promotions that we have throughout the year.
We're giving away $50,000 like they did on opening night on July 2nd at midnight, 1971.
Wow, that's pretty cool. And then we have the 2 new venues that we've been sort of talking about, and still not going to be sharing too much information about. But both of their grand openings will be tied to our 50th, and then we'll have something spectacular, which might be our 51st. But at least then we know that everyone can come to it and enjoy it in the right way.
Yep.
And that's more important than a specific date and time.
Mm-hmm.
Every weekend in Vegas is a celebration for the people that are coming back here.
Absolutely.
Well,
that is Vegas.
We wanted to plan the 50-year anniversary a year in advance. It's just a shame that we were pretty much shut down for, starting in March. I know that there were meetings that we were starting to have, preliminary meetings, really building it out. But
we had good intentions.
Yeah.
But
just wait till our 100th.
yeah, exactly. You can all come to the 100th.
It's also good to see that we have our entire staff back full force as well.
It's great to see everybody.
Everyone's back in the office. Well, to be fair, some of us never left. But there was a sort of shift, a cultural shift in a lot of office spaces. And I think for us, it's important that we're all together, communicating, talking, and now we can do that in the right way. Mm-hmm. So that is a nice update.
One of the other things that I thought was important is now that we're kind of activating underneath the dome area, and we have a bar out there that's open for weekends, kind of with the crowd that's been coming back and forth from Fremont Street, from Circa. We've been closing off the dome area. So what we've done is we've added a South Tower registration desk. So guests are able to check in over in the South Tower on the weekends when we have the dome closed.
I think guests will really appreciate that because they park in the south garage, the garage to the south of us, so that when they come in, they can just check in right there. That's awesome.
Well, and it's important for the guest experience, having a bell desk right there as well.
Absolutely.
And especially people coming in for our bingo tournaments that are on the south parking there. But it's also us trying to preempt the future, which is with this new development coming in the front of the hotel, it's going to change people's pick-up, drop-off experience at the Plaza, and that's why this was needed as well. Right. So good job getting that done. I'm excited to see it.
I'd also like to congratulate Gary on bringing SIP back. This is week 3, I think, of having SIP, which is our Thursday happy hour with hotel guests to give them complimentary wine and beer, sodas, water.
Every Thursday from 4 to 5, we encourage some of our team as well as all of our hotel guests come down, have a drink with us, and then kind of just see what they're doing for the weekend, kind of see how their experience has been, and get their feedback. It's very important to all of us, and from our different levels of staff coming down and engaging with the guests.
I love it, and I do it every morning at the coffee bar as well. That's my version of SIP, but buy someone a coffee, get to talk to our customers, and I love our team doing that down on the casino floor as well. It's important.
Also on the casino floor, we've added a new partnership for players to use to go to some downtown restaurants.
Yes, we've been supporters of downtown restaurants from the beginning. We actually, as other landlords of some of the properties in East Fremont, we own the buildings of which Latire. I say we. Tamara's that also owns the Plaza owns those properties. Latire, Commonwealth, used to be Beauty Bar, La Comida, and so we've always encouraged our guests to check out the neighborhood, see what's happening. And so we did a partnership with Latire, which another casino downtown also does. But we partnered with some others that don't have those relationships, Carson Kitchen.
And You or Me Sushi.
Which is an amazing new sushi bar. If you go there, try the Plaza roll.
Yum.
I created it. and it's a good opportunity for our guests because we don't have sushi here. We don't have food like Carson Kitchen has. We don't have Thai food. So it's a nice amenity for our customers to be able to go down there and experience downtown, especially with everything great that's happening in the Arts District, the new bars, the new restaurants, the new walkability, and obviously this year we lost Tony Shea, but everything he did in East Fremont and his vision, I think the ultimate legacy for him will be the success of downtown Las Vegas.
Absolutely.
And those properties and everything he did.
Nice.
So yes, those restaurants I'm very excited about people being able to go there.
And one other update before we jump into social media questions is that the Plaza is officially on TikTok at Plaza Las Vegas.
Welcome to the 21st century.
Jonathan is on TikTok as of this morning.
Ooh.
No, it's not me.
It's not you. You're a video of you.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
Okay, so let's go into questions. At Bari_chef asks, what is Jonathan's golf handicap and where are his favorite golf courses in Vegas?
Very important first question to get us started here. And Barry, thank you. As you've probably seen on my social media, I took up golf during the pandemic. I didn't really play at all before then. My favorite golf course is probably the Wynn, just because the one at the Wynn is just so convenient, and there's great service, great food, great drinks. It's a great experience. So I'd say that my handicap fluctuates greatly, but if I can break 90, I've had a great day.
I have no comment on that. I don't even know how to respond to golf. But the Wynn golf course sounds great. At BB Bebe Vegas asks, Jonathan, you always ask other people what their vision is for the future of downtown. What is your outlook and opinion on what's in store for the Plaza and downtown Vegas over the next 5 years?
I mean, it's a huge question and has a lot of different answers, but I'd say in a nutshell, I always struggled with the idea of tourists and locals enjoying downtown together in the old days, and I'm less concerned about that anymore as I've seen downtown evolve and pockets of areas pop up, whether it's the Arts District, East Fremont more for locals, and then I see tourists enjoying those areas because that's where the locals all go and that's where they want to be. And I think the Huntridge neighborhood's going to be great when that gets redone, the old venues being repurposed, and JDAP is doing that, and I think that's going to be great. And I just think that the main thing for downtown now is residential. And these 800 apartments to the west of the Plaza, I can't wait to see the impact that can have. And I think as you get more residential downtown, everything else will trickle off of that, because you've seen the impact for local casinos, how well they do, having residential around them. And I think that will lead to more restaurants, more retail, and the tourists will enjoy the neighborhood more as it gets cleaned up because of that. Right. So without going into a longer question, I think that's the key, but obviously stuff changes quickly here. 10 years ago, nobody saw brand new hotels being built and the other development that's taken place. So I think there's a lot of upside.
At Red Chip Better, I'd like to see an outdoor beer garden come back, or a possibility of an outdoor bar. Maybe it would do better with Circa across the street now.
Well, that's interesting, Red Chip Better, because definitely we think Circa has helped clean up this end of the street, the West End, as we talked about, and we have had plans now for almost 2 years, not specifically for what he's referring to as the old beer garden, but that whole area is going to get repurposed, and that is going to be our big undertaking for the next 12 months. Ooh. And I'm very excited to reveal that, but that area will become a destination and perhaps the must-see attraction in downtown Las Vegas.
Wow.
Stay tuned,
big
Red Chip
statement.
Stay tuned.
Any update on the Greyhound and anyone making any offers?
Yeah, tons of interest in the Greyhound station. We know what we want to do there, but we're actually not committing to anything yet because we want to open it up to as many ideas and people as possible. I should say we know what we want to do. We think we know what we want to do. It's a lot of good ideas on the table, and people are giving us a lot of things to think about. But we don't want to rush it. We had it locked up for 50 years, and we want to get it right, and we will get it right. And, I think we have time. Right now, a big issue downtown is parking, so we're going to use it for additional parking in the short term to get more people to be able to come down here and not just the Plaza, but all of downtown. And the bridge which is tied to that conversation is probably still 2 years away. I just talked with the city yesterday. It's a partnership with the city. It's taking time to get that done. So there'll be a lot of people living down here before the bridge.
This is the pedestrian bridge across the tracks, right? Over the tracks.
Correct.
Those were questions from at Get to Know Vegas and at Tony Blackburn 28, by the way.
Oh.
Shout out.
Thank you to you guys.
At Wask asks, what is new for late night venues? Same concept.
Well, there's actually two. We have two coming. What we will be doing, I will reveal the one concept probably in a couple of weeks on this podcast. We'll have them as guests, and that'll help explain the late night venues that are coming. The one will be a little further down, and that'll probably be more of a social media press release coming out once we have that done.
At Travis758 asks if there's any plans to add more craps tables.
Well, we will be adding the electronic stadium, but the craps tables in the main pit. Could we add more? I guess we could. Let's see. Once things return back to full business levels.
At Vegas Reviews asks, do you offer craft beer?
We do offer craft beer, and Oscars has a great selection, but our new lounge and bar is going to be home to some of the best.
Wow.
We've made that a big priority as we go forward to focus on that.
Last question. At Vegas Reviews, again, wants to know, what is your best room at the Plaza, and what does it offer? Gary, you want to take that one?
Oh, Gary, why don't you?
Oh, I think our best rooms. I mean, I would put our Lux rooms, our new but not new Lux room, pound for pound with anything with anything else that's downtown. That's not in like a suite capacity or anything like that. But I think if you're looking for, I guess, the best room, it would probably want to be one of our Lux suites.
Yeah.
I mean,
beautiful view.
the Derby suites are the biggest.
I was
The
gonna say,
biggest,
classic.
yeah.
the pool suites, though, have the...
But I was going to go pool suite. I like the pool
Really?
suites, yeah. I think that patio's special. The access to the pool is special. Plus, they're like the Lux rooms, but with that added amenity, I do like those pool suites. Plus, there's not much like that you're not getting that much in downtown with those kinds of decks.
You're not going to have a cocktail
private
server
decks.
come right up to your room and
Right.
and take your order.
Yeah.
Well, that was fun. It was an honor and a privilege to do this episode with you guys and to do this podcast with you.
Thank you, Lisa.
Stay tuned for next week. We'll be back again soon, but in the meantime, please rate, review, and subscribe. Tell your friends about On the Corner of Main Street. And of course, follow us on social. On Twitter and Instagram, it's at Plaza Pod, and on Facebook, find us at Plaza Podcast. Or go right to the top and tweet Jonathan at Jonathan Jossel. We'll see you next time from right here on the corner of Main Street.